Hey, boss. What's wrong? Nothing. Is it maybe because Jake number 3 left to fight the creator?
Oh, is it because Jake number 3 left?
Sorry, I've just been upset. It's okay. Yeah, Jake 3 leaving to confront the creator. I don't know. It's not gonna end well. You know, maybe you could join Jake 3 and take down the creator. It's what you've always wanted. And get myself killed too? Look, you're Jake 4! You're evil! You can do this! Maybe you're right. You really believe in me? I believe in you. Do you believe in me too, Jake 8? Whatever. Yeah, I can do this. I'm kinda evil, right? I could stop the bigger evil guy. Alright, you take care of today's tier list. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna go stop the evil Jake. But the other evil Jake, because I'm also evil. Oh, okay. Tier list. Hi. Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. And today we're gonna do a tier list. I know. The tier list everyone wants. The best Unite moves in Pokemon Unite. Let's do it! Alright, as always with any tier list that I put together, of course, this is all personal opinion, and it shouldn't dissuade you from playing a Pokemon that you really, really like, but these are just my thoughts on the Unite moves inside Pokemon Unite, which ones are best, and I'm gonna try as best as I can to weigh all factors, but there are some things that... As we go into the list, I think you'll see what I mean. But there are just a couple things that react with certain items in the game, so it's kind of hard to say if the Unite move is so good or the item is good, but let's hop into this list right here. Where do I want to start? Let's see. Let's start with... Oh, I forgot to tell you what my tiers were. Jeez. Oh, come on. Come on, Jake 6. You can do this. Our... First tier, the S such a sweet Unite tier, the A all right, this is great tier, the B tier, still got the B tier, crushing it. The C, come on now, this isn't the best. And the D, Donnie, I'm telling you that this isn't good. So this is, you know, that final tier, or D tier, essentially I know someone out there named Donnie disagrees with me about something in that tier, but I'm telling you, Donnie, it's just not very good. Let's hop into our list here. Let's start with something that I think is really amazing, maybe not an S tier. Let's start with Greedent. I think Greedent has an A tier Unite move. It used to be S tier because Greedent used to be more and more broken. And it's kind of weird how that works, but since you can't do Belch as many times as a row as you used to, it's still an amazing move and it makes Greedent a bit of a monster, but it's not what it was, which was kind of S tier craziness. I think it's one of the better Unites in the game, and with all Unites, you're getting that move speed increase, you're getting an attack increase, you're getting a small shield. But in general, I think when a Pokemon sort of stops becoming S, the Unite move also follows with it for the most part. That being said, I think it's a really, really strong one. Jump into the enemies, you get unlimited access to your abilities essentially, so a super, super good Unite for sure. Let's do... What one would I say is maybe a B tier Unite? Let's grab a B tier Unite out of this list here. Okay, I think Serena's Unite's probably a B tier Unite. It's pretty good. It has a decent recharge time. It refills some health. It pulls an enemy out of the battle for a moment there, so you can kind of use it to isolate enemy carries. You can also use it, you know, if the enemy's retreating, you can grab one person and that person has to stay with your team. I think all around it is a pretty dang good Unite. It doesn't do insane damage, and it doesn't power up Zarina in some way that is unbeatable or something like that. It does what every other Unite does essentially in that respect, but I do think it is a pretty solid Unite all around, a pretty dang good one. Let's see here. What is another B tier? Maybe a C tier. Yeah, what do I think is a C tier one? Okay, I know a C tier one. A C tier one, I would say, ugh, that one might be D tier actually. I'm trying to find one that I think is just, okay. Okay, I'm gonna say Gardevoir's Unite is a C tier Unite. And I know some people will think is maybe one of the better Unites in the game, but it takes a really long time to charge, and it also, or at least it feels like that inside the game, and I feel like this is one of the Unites that you can easily make completely useless. You just miss with it, you kind of back up when it looks like they're throwing it, you full heal, you move out of it, Wiggly's Unite stops it. I just think it's kind of designed to be amazing, and when it really works, it really works. So when you get a massive unite on from Gardevoir on the enemy team, it's incredible. However, I would say in most games I see, it is not that impactful. It misses a ton. Maybe it needs to be even a little bigger. Maybe that would make it too crazy, but I just don't think it's that impressive of a Unite move, unfortunately. I think it can be the best, but it's kind of like saying that the best character in the game is Garchomp, because when it has full stacks and it's just shredding the enemy team, it's insanely powerful. So situationally amazing, but in general, I actually don't think it's a super good Unite. Let's talk about a D tier. Donnie, I'm telling you this isn't good. Lucario. I do not like Lucario's Unite move. Never liked Lucario's Unite move. It is not very good. Lucario is amazing. Lucario's Unite move is just super underwhelming. There is a way to use it. You kind of have to use it in the midst of a fight, hit enemies right next to you, and re-engage. It doesn't feel like that because it feels like it has all this range and everything. But I just do not like Lucario's Unite in this game. I don't find it very useful. The thing that is great is Lucario. Lucario's Unite, I am not a fan of Lucario's Unite. Okay, let's see here. Where do I want to go next? I could put something up in the S tier. Okay, so here's a Unite that I don't think is going to stay in the S tier very long. But I can't argue that right now it is S tier, and that is Dragonite. So Dragonite's Unite, it's S tier for a few reasons. So first of all, its charge time is insanely low. I think this is probably going to change soon, but given that its charge time is so low, you're able to cast it with Buddy Barrier over and over and over again inside a game. Once they kind of fix this, I don't think it'll be a top tier Unite. I think it'll probably be a B or C tier Unite. But until they kind of fix that, you're basically uniting every 30 seconds once you get your Unite move inside the game, giving a Buddy Barrier to at least you, but possibly you and an ally. It's just kind of broken. And when I look at the S tier, I think, is the Unite either so good that it makes the character, or is it just kind of broken? And I think Dragonite's Unite is just kind of broken right now. Okay, let's see here. All right, we've got Machamp, Cinder, we've got Talon. Okay, I'll go Talon. I think Talonflame's got a B tier Unite. Pretty good, situationally amazing, charges really fast, but also there are tons of times where it's kind of useless, and Talon doesn't always want to drag the enemies somewhere. So again, situationally really good. B tier is a very solid tier for all of these Unite moves, so I think it's really good. This kind of teeters into A just because of how quickly it charges, but in general, I think it's just a really solid Unite. You can make some amazing plays with it, and its low charge time, I think, puts it above a move like Gardevoir's for sure. Absolutely. I really like Talonflame's Unite, but it also is like, it's fine. It's good. All the Unites are good. You're doing a pretty crazy powerful move. All the Unites are pretty good. Okay. This is probably going to be my most controversial pick of the entire list. I would say that Cramorant's Unite is B. Maybe it's C, but it's B, maybe. Here's the issue with Cramorant's Unite. In some ways, it's positioned to have one of the best Unites in the game, and there was a time that I thought it was one of the best Unites in the game, but Cram is so squishy. There are things that can stop this Unite from happening. You can kind of just jump on Cram and take it out very fast. I really think this Unite needs a buff. It still is pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I think this should be one of the best Unites in the game, and they've kind of hurt Cram and hurt its Unite in many ways. I almost want to put this in the C tier. And it's not because of the move itself, but you have to take into account all the factors surrounding this move, right? And one of the big factors surrounding Cram's Unite move is that it's coming out of Cram, and I don't know, this should give you a massive shield. This should do something. I almost want to put it C, but it's not C. It's still pretty, it still has definitely some viability, but you almost need a team to help you use it, as crazy as that sounds, because it feels like it should zone out the enemy. Here's the thing with it. It feels like it should push the enemy away, but it actually just makes them target you extremely hard and KO you as fast as they can. So, I don't know. I think Cram in general and Cram's Unite, it needs a little love. I do not know why they nerfed this Pokemon, but they did. All right, let's see. Blastoise, here we go. I think Blastoise has an A tier Unite. Used to be S tier. It's still one of the better Unites in the entire game. So you knock up everyone around you. It has a massive radius and it does great damage. It's one of the better Unites in the entire game. It used to be broken. It used to do so much damage. Blastoise has been crazy for a while. It used to do so much damage. It used to be really, really nuts. But they've nerfed. Come on, Jake Six. They have nerfed a few things on Blastoise, and Blastoise is now an extremely good Pokemon, but I don't think, you know, S tier overpowered or anything like that. Still an amazing Unite move. And I'm not super intense about ranking these. I might put it above Greedence. They're both really good, but yeah, I think Blastoise has one of the best Unites in the game. Let's talk about another one that I think is probably S tier. It's close. This one might be top of A, and that's Machamp. I might move this up to the S tier. Machamp's Unite is so good. It gives Machamp a ton of boosts to its stats. It gives its like attack, defense, special defense. Of course, it gets all the other bonuses that you normally get when you Unite. And if you land this on a group of enemies, it is brutal. I think the only thing keeping it out of the S tier is probably the fact that if you kind of miss with it, it's a bit of a bummer. But in general, I think this is really great. I might slightly put it under Blastoise. I don't know. Maybe this is mid-A. It's amazing, though. It's really amazing. It's just, it does run into some of the same issues as Gardevoir, where it's like, every once in a while, this can be really hard to hit, and if it just misses, it's a real bummer. It's much easier to hit something like Blastoise's Unite, or it's much easier to just get powered up and go crazy with Greedent. So I'd say it's an incredible Unite move, but has a few things that stops it from making it into the S tier for me. Okay, let's see here. Dragonite's Livid Outrage. Dragonite's a weird one. I kind of want this to be in B. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a little unwieldy sometimes. It might be a C tier Unite. I don't think it has like a very brief period where it stuns him for a second. Not stuns him, but stops him from attacking. I don't know why they have that. I get because of how Outrage works in the Pokemon games, but it just doesn't feel like it is necessary for this move. I think I'm gonna keep this in the B tier for now. Again, good solid damage, and you really do become, you know, pretty crazy powerful when you do this. If you line it up right, it's pretty devastating. This is low B for me. I think this is a low B tier Unite move. Pretty good, but yeah, it just, I don't know. It also is attached to a Pokemon that's really underwhelming, so there's that. Okay, let's see. Absol's Unite. I think Absol's Unite is probably C tier. It's probably near the top of C tier. It's just not what Absol does well. You use Absol's Unite basically to get a buddy barrier so that you can fight with Absol. There are times where it works out pretty well, but I don't know. I think the way you use Absol's Unite, it kind of reminds me of Lucario's, where you think you might use it to steal objectives or things like that, but you actually just use it in the heat of the battle to give yourself and an ally a buddy barrier to make sure that you're kind of powered up and crazy. You don't really get a lot of the benefit out of using the Unite itself. So I think it makes Absol stronger, which is great, but I actually don't love this Unite. However, every once in a while, kind of similar to Gardevoir, you get like a massive amount of team damage with it, and it's pretty amazing. So I think C tier. Again, all the Unites are good. I'm just not really in love with this Unite move. This is another one that might be kind of controversial. Decidueye. I think Decidueye's Unite is bad. I think rooting Decidueye in place. I mean, Decidueye's whole thing is like, it stands in one place and it gets KO'd. This is like Cram's Unite, but a lot worse, in my opinion. People try to use it to steal objectives. It almost never works. You can just stand right in front of the arrows. It does a decent amount of damage from long range, but now you're in this weird predicament where you're very far away from an important team fight. Every once in a while, something cool happens with Decidueye's Unite move, and again, all these Unite moves have some use. It's not like it's impossible to make this a good move. It's cool to shoot a bunch of arrows somewhere, but I think any team with half a brain they're not affected at all by this Unite. It's one of those Unites that's just like, it's kind of a bummer. The problem with it, I think, from a design standpoint, is of course you're rooted there. You do more damage farther away, so you're away from the team fight, which is kind of okay for Decidueye because it's so weak. But then if they really up the damage on this, it kind of becomes overpowered. So it's just one of those weird unites where I'm not sure exactly how they fix it, but it's overall a problem with Decidueye. I probably like it better than Lucario's. I don't know. I don't really prefer this unite at all. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. Sylveon. Okay. Sylveon I think is B tier. It's honestly almost C tier of a unite. It's kind of a C tier unite, except you get it. It feels like you get it so early. So as a lane Pokemon, you're kind of, really useful early. It might be top of C. It might be top of the C or it might be top of the B to you. But I think this is going to have to be a B tier unite just because you get it so fast. It keeps you alive. You stop yourself from getting KO'd with it a lot. You probably run a buddy barrier on Sylveon just because you do get that unite so early, so you help allies with it decently. It gives you some pretty good sustain. Sylveon overall is in kind of a weird spot in the game right now just because they keep releasing insanely powerful Pokemon, and they did release Sylveon insanely powered, and then they like scaled it back. Probably more than they've scaled any Pokemon back that's been released. I think this is solid. It's low B, high C. That's what I think. Let's get some high C. All right. Snorlax. What do you do with Snorlax's Unite? It really works for Snorlax, but it's just kind of a buddy barrier generator. I'm going to put it at the top of C here. Snorlax, it kind of just gives you a second round of Snorlax fighting in a big team fight. So in a coordinated setting, you could probably say this is a better Unite than a C tier Unite. But for most players playing, I just think it's often a pretty underwhelming Unite. If you're using it correctly in team fights and you're using it to give allies a buddy barrier and using it to kind of come back when things aren't going so well, or sometimes like really just starting out, taking a ton of damage early, pushing the enemy and then throwing it down quick, it's pretty good, as are all Unites. But yeah, I don't know. Come on now, this isn't the best. It's just not. It just gives you a ton of health. You already have a ton of sustain with Snorlax, but I think it's okay. It's an okay Unite move. Eldegoss. I think Eldegoss has an A tier Unite. It's very good. Hurts enemies, heals allies, steals objectives. Pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. It's one of the better Unites in the entire game. It did get nerfed recently. It might have been kind of close to an S tier Unite for a little while, but it got that nerf, so less damage, less ability to steal objectives here, and I think less healing on it as well. However, one of the better Unites in the game. You're invulnerable, you're above everything, you can decide when you land with it. I think it is a very, very solid Unite move. Okay, who is next? Let's talk about... We could do another support here. Let's talk about Mime. Mime is a great Unite. I think Mime is also an A tier Unite, and single target, like if you're just throwing it to do some damage and kind of spin around people, it's kind of useless. However, in some of the more important fights, having a move that can hit multiple enemies around Mime and stun them out of being able to attack for a moment, so basically stun them out of being able to take an objective, I think it's a pretty incredible Unite for that reason. It also stops people from being able to use the moves they want to do damage to your allies or to run away or whatever. So I think it's actually one of the better Unites in the game. Super low charge time as well. So I think it's really, really solid. I could see sometimes solo, your team's just not coordinated, so it's kind of one of the more frustrating Unites because you're thinking, why is no one engaging with this incredible move? But I think it's a really, really great Unite. Let's do Slowbro here. Slowbro's Unite is awesome, but it just requires too much of your team. So it's probably high C or something like that. It's, it's like Fruit Punch or something over here. But the problem with it is if your allies don't do anything, you have done your job, you've grabbed the carry on the enemy team, or you stopped, Blastoise's Unite, or you stopped Cramorant's Unite, which is amazing to do. It really is so cool. But at the same time, it just requires your team to do something. So on its own, It's just so situational that I have to say it's kind of like a C tier Unite. Really good, but kind of like a C tier Unite, I think. Yeah, I just think it just requires too much of your team. And things that require too much of someone else to be good, I'm always a little worried about moves like that. Let's see. Pyro Ball. You know, I was pretty hard on Pyro Ball at my first tier list, and I actually think I'm going to put it B tier for this one right here. You know, when you correctly use Pyro Ball and you're not only using it to steal objectives, I think it can be really great. It also can steal objectives, which is pretty dang important. It's a sure hit. It powers up Cinderace. It just gets you in a position to really start doing some crazy damage to the enemy. Used correctly, I think this is a pretty good Unite. It doesn't require your team to do too much. So because of that, I think it's probably a B tier Unite. I think it's probably a B tier Unite. You charge it decently fast too, because you are doing so much damage and taking so much farm around the map. Let's see. Blissey. Blissey. Blissey is almost C tier, but I'm going to keep it B. The reason it's definitely almost C is because it relies on your ally being smart. But you can notice one of your allies inside a game, even if you're playing solo queue. You can notice one person who's at least pretty good who could take advantage of this Unite. Oftentimes, you know, a brawler like Zarina or something like that. I love using this Unite on them. It just keeps them alive forever. It also has this ability, and this is why I put it B. When you are traveling to your ally with Blissey's Unite, you're doing damage as you go and knocking up. So because of that, I think it removes itself from the C tier. I've actually stolen objectives and gotten multi-KOs and stuff like that with this Unite move. And it's not that difficult to sort of to hit some people with it. Basically, if you're in the midst of a team fight and you see your allies over here, we'll say, you're over here, and there's some enemies. This is not too difficult to set up and get some great damage at the same time, really protect an ally. So I'd put that B. That's my opinion for that one. B tier for that move. Still got the B tier. Mamoswine, if you've heard me talk about it, I hate Mamoswine's Unite. I think it's terrible. I can't believe it's so weak. It's just... It's maybe bottom C tier, but I really don't like this Unite at all. I think it needs to do more damage, or it needs to just be more disruptive. It feels so underwhelming. And it's a bummer too, because I love the mechanics of it. It just doesn't feel like it ever does anything. I'm always so disappointed with this Unite. Again, Mamo now getting it earlier, or does it not get it earlier? It just evolves earlier. Now I don't remember. I think it gets it earlier. It gets it one level earlier than it used to. Either way, it's better now just because Mamo is better now. But in general, I think this is one of those moves where it's so close to being good, but they didn't tune it up and make it powerful. I'd love to see them make this Unite move a little more powerful, or do a little more crowd control or something like that. If it did a little more, I would really like this Unite move. But right now, it just feels so underwhelming. Let's see, who's next? Let's do Pikachu. Pikachu is high B, low A. It might be low A just because of its charge rate right now. You can use it a lot. It does decent damage. Near the end of the game, it really falls off, of course. I kind of think this is low A, high B. So it's weird because on its own, it's okay. But it happens so often that it can really help your team. You get a lot of Unites in with Pika. You can throw a Unite move pretty close to the 3-minute mark and still have it up for the Zapdos or Articuno fight that's coming up. So I'm going to say bottom of A tier for this, and it's really just because of how fast it charges and how much you can do with it. It's one of those Unites where more than one enemy around, I would just probably spam this Unite. You're going to have it back pretty soon. I mean, that's, of course, not always the case, but you know what I'm saying here. I think you can get yourself in some pretty good situations because of its super low cooldown. And again, this is one of those Unite moves that has also benefited from Pikachu just being a lot better than it used to be. Let's see. Ninetales. Let's do Ninetales. I think Ninetales is a C tier Unite. You don't want enemies to be around you as Ninetales, so in some ways it's kind of cool that you almost have this scary moment where enemies want to run away from you. But in general, I don't know where I'd put it in the C tier. I guess it's kind of irrelevant. But in general, it's just not where it needs to be. I think if they gave this the cooldown of Pikachu's Unite or something like that, we could actually be in a pretty good spot with this. Again, C tier, not bad, just really situationally good. It's also not the easiest thing to do to make sure that you're doing the extra damage to enemies that are already frozen. I don't remember the timing on it, but I remember it being a little tough to sort of get that damage exactly right. Decent. It's nice that people want to run away from Ninetales. It's nice to power up Ninetales, but yeah, just not that impressive of a Unite move overall. I want to do, let's see here. Let's do this one. This is a no-brainer, I think. Charizard Seismic Slam. One of the best Unites in the game. It's not as broken as Dragonites right now, so that might keep it a little bit under Dragonites, but it is Char. Char is Char because of this Unite move. If Charizard had a whatever Unite move, like let's say Charizard had Mamoswine's Unite move, just for the sake of conversation. If Char had Mamo's Unite move, no one would ever play Char. They would never, because Char is not good enough on its own. However, Char is decent on its own, and then you have one of the better Unites in the entire game, if not one of the best Unites in the entire game. You just become a monster. You can burn entire enemy teams with it. When this... It doesn't ever go super poorly, because you're at least outputting a decent amount of damage to the enemy and flying around, and sometimes it is completely game-changing and wipes enemy teams. You can get to the back line and attack their carries. You could Seismic Slam one of the weaker Pokemon on the team. You could take someone out of the fight for a half second. It's just a really amazing Unite. Again, one of the best in the entire game, I think. Let's see here. Let's do... All right, we'll do Gengar. I don't like Gengar's Unite at all. I think it's bad. But here's what I will say about Gengar's Unite. I honestly think they could put something inside of Gengar's kit that let him almost do this in general. I don't even think it's that overpowered. It's nice, the little, you know, burst damage that comes out of it. You can steal some objectives with it, but everyone knows you're around. I don't know. It's just not very good at all. Maybe if they really lowered the cooldown, if Gengar could do this all the time, maybe it would be something good, but in general, I think everything about Gengar just doesn't work super well given the Pokemon it's fighting against. So you don't want to be near people as Gengar. Like, yes, you can use it to jump in and sort of get someone on the back line and KO someone, but then you're on the back line with all these people. You can't get away. I don't know. It's no good. It's not good. I think Gengar is in a really tough spot in the game, and I think its Unite is, yeah, it's nothing super exciting about its Unite. Greninja. Where do I put Greninja? I think I put Greninja near the top of B, maybe? I think it's a pretty dang good Unite move. I don't think it makes it to the A tier, although it's good. It's pretty good, you know. It's got knockup, it's got damage. You really become kind of crazy as Greninja after you throw it. I like it, don't love it. Yeah, I think I like it, don't love it, and that's why I have to keep it B tier. I don't know what if you could spam it more often, maybe it would make it into A, or if the damage on it felt like crazy, maybe you could make it into A. But right now, I think it's a super solid Unite move, kind of near the top of B tier, probably. Unite move. Something like that, I think. Okay, what do we do with Venusaur? Venusaur's weird. I almost want to say Venusaur's B, and I almost want to say Venusaur's A, and then I almost want to say Venusaur's C. And I think because of... Look, I don't think it's very good at stealing objectives. Sometimes people use it to try to steal objectives. I don't think it's ideal for that. I actually think it's better when people are grouped up in a team fight. I think it does a ton of damage. So when used correctly, I think you kind of move it near an A. Used incorrectly, I think it's near a C. In general, I think I have to put it sort of like high B for that reason. I think it's actually a really good Unite, especially in the heat of a fight and you throw it down. There are a lot of people there. You actually do a really solid amount of damage with that Unite move. But yeah, it's just missing something. It's just missing something to get it to the A tier for me. Maybe if it was even stronger, I don't know, it's pretty strong. I think it's really solid. I just think for all the reasons I said before, you know, it doesn't do anything super well. It kind of reminds me in some ways of Absol's Unite, but better. That's what it kind of reminds me of. And I recognize they're mechanically kind of different, but it feels like that to me. So I think it's pretty good, but not amazing. Here's another one that I think is pretty good and not amazing, is Zeraora. I think Zeraora's is fine. It got nerfed. Some people really like it. It seeks onto an enemy, which is cool, but I really don't find that fighting inside the Plasma Gale field, the electricity field or whatever that it makes, is that beneficial for Zeraora. Feels like it should be more beneficial for Zeraora to be inside that field, but it does good damage. It seeks onto an enemy. You don't need a ton of team coordination to use it. I think it's a solid B tier Unite move. All right, the last two here. This Unite move is... Crustal's Unite move is so good. And also, Crustal's just in a weird spot, but this Unite, it helps you score. It actually makes you really mean in a team fight. It helps you secure objectives. It's one of the better Unites in the game. It's one of the... If it wasn't on Crustal, I'd almost say it was S tier, but Crustal is so underwhelming right now that I think it's still an A tier Unite. I think it's one of the best Unites in the game. But Crustal is just kind of right now, and I think that does hurt it because, you know, look, you put this Unite move on, like, let's say you put a Unite move like this on Zarina or something like that. You would be insane if you had a Unite move like that on Zarina. So I like it. I really like it. I just am a little underwhelmed by Crustal right now. It probably moves up here above Pikachu or something like that. Really incredibly good Unite, and the scoring you can do with it is unbelievable. This shield it gives you, you stack that shield with a buddy barrier. Can you ever break that? Can you ever break that shield? It'll score no matter what is attacking it, basically. I mean, I've seen full teams attack Crustal and nobody can break that. So it's really good. It's really, really good. And now our final Unite, the one I was waiting for, is Wiggly's Unite. Wiggly's Unite might be even better than Dragonite's. I really do think so. I think Wiggly's Unite might be the best Unite in the entire game. The issue with it, the reason I can't put it above the other two, Dragonite's Unite is actually broken. I think it's not right. It's not right what's happening with that Unite move. And then Char's is just so incredibly good and you don't have to rely on your team. However, Wiggly, with even the smallest amount of teamwork, Wiggly's Unite changes the entire game. You can use it to let your entire team dunk in the enemy goal. You can use it to win the center fight. You can use it. It stops hindrances. I don't know. It's almost the best one in the game. Every single Unite in this top category is amazing, but Wiggly's it might be the best in the game. When you really like look at it, it might be the best in the game. As soon as Dragonite's Unite is fixed, I think this drops to B tier. Maybe even top, yeah, probably B tier or something like that. Maybe even top of C. It's not that good, except it is kind of broken right now. So yeah, there you go. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. What if I united with you? What if I united with you? What if me and you united? That would be cool. So obviously Dragonite, completely broken. Greninja, Zarina, basically, Zarina, Dragonite just got released. They're completely broken. And surprise, surprise, Zeraora is at the top. How can you get away from Zeraora being one of the best Unites in the game? Sneaky, incredible Unite is Sylveon, because you just turn Sylveon into an unkillable beast. And then you look at some of the bottom Unites in the game here. Machamp's Unite, terrible. You miss it every time. You're never going to hit with Machamp's Unite. You look at things like Crustal, because Crustal is so bad right now. Its Unite is just so bad. Greedent's nerfed into Oblivion, so it's down here. And then you have a few here in the B tier for the most part. Mamo, after Mamo got buffed, its Unite is very, very good. And then Decidueye, I mean, you can rain arrows from a distance. It's almost an S tier Unite. But let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think? What are your favorite Unite moves? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? I love you all, and I will see you all next time. Huh, I didn't do such a bad job at this. Maybe I didn't need Jake 4. Goodbye. Mwah!